what are you feeling?
What am I feeling?
Mrs. Khan! Hola! What you guys feeling tonight?
Nigeria's Center for Disease Control, he added, will disseminate information on how to practice self-isolation.
Evening, I'm Gladys Mutele. Reserve Bank Governor Lesetja Kganyago says while the coronavirus is taking its toll, the local economy is expected to bounce back. Kganyago has announced a reduction in the repo rate of 100 basis points to 5.25%. He says the country's growth needs a boost. Ray White reports.
Governor Lesetja Kganyago says globally economic growth has dropped dramatically, and this includes South Africa.
The bank now expects the economy to contract by 0.2% in 2020. Financial volatility and a sharp rise in perceived risk has caused the rand to depreciate by 17.2% against the US dollar since January.
The decrease in the repo rate is good news for those in debt, but pensioners with investments will be hard hit. Ray White, Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, religious leaders in KwaZulu-Natal have resolved to proceed with their Easter weekend observations despite fears of the virus. Chairperson of the KwaZulu-Natal Christian Council, Wilfred Napier, says they want congregants to understand the virus as a challenge they can defeat. Napier says that church leaders will take the necessary precautions, including those stipulated by the government to mitigate against the spread of COVID-19. Nkosikona Duma reports.
Cardinal Wilfred Napier says they've resolved that Easter services will be spread out to make sure that congregants do not gather in groups of more than 100 at a time. He says they'll also increase the use of technology in this year's Easter gatherings.
We should be creative in the way that we try to get the Easter services in particular relayed to people. Live streaming might be one of the ways in getting people to attend the services from their homes if they cannot go to the churches.
He says they'll need the support of government to make the celebrations a success.
We need to engage with government in regard to the supply of water to the areas where there's water problems, but also we think that there should be a supply of sanitizers and soap.
Meanwhile, government says if the number of infections continues to rise, they may have to implement stricter measures to curb the spread. Kosikon, Eyewitness News, Durban.
The Department of Public Works and Infrastructure wants to erect a new 40-kilometer fence at the Beitbridge border post as part of protecting the country against COVID-19. Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Patricia de Lille made the announcement today. She briefed the media on a number of interventions her department was taking to fight the pandemic. Babalondenze reports.
Minister Patricia de Lille says the erection of the fence at the South Africa-Zimbabwe border is to ensure that no undocumented or infected persons cross into the country and vice versa. The president has already confirmed 35 of the 53 land entry points will be closed. De Lille says the new fence will cost 37 million rand.
The cost of the project will be about 37.2 million, and this is how the implementation will unfold as from tomorrow. All 40 kilometers of the fence will be finished within 1 month. We try and do it as fast as we can. We will also source local labor.
De Lille says the move should not be seen as xenophobic, as it is meant to protect those on both sides of the border. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
As South Africans continue to strip shelves over fears of the COVID-19 pandemic, retail company Shoprite is limiting purchases of some food products and medicines. To ensure more people have access to everyday essentials, Shoprite says it is now limiting the sale of toilet paper, tissues, wipes, liquid soap, hand sanitizer, as well as some tinned foods, cereals, antiseptic, disinfectant liquids, medicines and vitamins. Earlier this week, Woolworths said it is introducing a limit of only 3 items per product and per customer on every grocery line, while Massmart's Macro has also restricted purchases of essential items like rice, frozen chicken and toilet paper. Meanwhile, coronavirus cases in the US have now topped 10,000. All 50 states have been hit by the outbreak, bringing the total number of coronavirus cases to 10,259. For all the latest on the COVID pandemic, you can go to ewn.co.za/coronavirus. Gold is trading at $1,482 an ounce. The rand's at 17.22 to the dollar, 20.28 to the pound, 18.85 or 55 rather to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $28.20 a barrel.
And in your sport, PSL chairman Dr. Irvin Khoza has confirmed that all football games will continue to be suspended, but that they hope to complete this season by the 30th of June. And the Dutch, Spanish and Monaco F1 Grand Prix have been postponed due to coronavirus.
A fine Friday in store for Gauteng, becoming partly cloudy with isolated afternoon showers. Johannesburg dropping to an overnight low of 14, peaking at 29 degrees. Pretoria 15 and 30, Vereeniging 13 and 29. Cape Town weather tomorrow, partly cloudy with a moderate southwesterly breeze, a low of 16 and a high of 23 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News this hour. Reserve Bank Governor Lesetja Kganyago says while the coronavirus is taking its toll, the local economy is expected to bounce back.
Eyewitness News. In touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, download the EWN app. Participate in action-oriented contribution. Lead SA. EWN Traffic.
There's some delays on the Mike 1 South
Our health personnel.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. Italy has announced that nationwide restrictions imposed to contain the spread of the coronavirus will be extended beyond the end of next week, when they were due to expire. Nearly 3,000 people have died in Italy, almost as many as in China, where the outbreak began. Dramatic pictures on social media show military trucks carrying the coffins of victims in the northern Italian province of Bergamo to other regions to be cremated. Stefano Fagioli is a doctor in Bergamo.
We are in full emergency of this coronavirus pandemic. Our health personnel, nurses and physicians are working round the clock, countless hours to fight this incredible situation. We do not know how long this will last. For the general population, please stay at home.
The 15-day lockdown imposed in France 2 days ago is also likely to be extended. In Spain, the number of deaths from the virus has risen to 767, a jump of 209 from Wednesday. Iranian officials fighting to contain the coronavirus have appealed to people not to travel on the eve of the Persian New Year holiday. But many are reported to have ignored the warnings, as our Middle East analyst Alan Johnston reports.
Persian New Year is traditionally a time to get together with family and friends and celebrate, and it seems too many Iranians are reluctant to break the habit, even now when moving around and mixing risks spreading the virus. At the moment, it's killing one person every 10 minutes in Iran. There's been heavy traffic on roads leading to the Caspian Sea coast, a popular holiday destination. And it's believed that at least 1 million people have made journeys in recent days.
Central banks have taken further action to address the economic consequences of the coronavirus pandemic. It follows overnight action by the European Central Bank to expand its own asset buying programme. Here's our economics correspondent, Andrew Walker.
A statement from the Bank of England noted that conditions in the financial markets where governments borrow money had deteriorated over recent days. So it announced that it would resume its own programme of buying government debt with new money, known as quantitative easing. It's also cutting the interest rate for its lending to banks to a new low. Meanwhile, the US Federal Reserve extended its arrangements for ensuring other countries' financial systems have enough dollars to an additional 9 central banks, including Brazil and Mexico.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced a one-day nationwide curfew on Sunday as a drill amid efforts to curb the spread of the virus. Mr. Modi asked everyone to applaud or bang plates or ring bells at 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon to say thank you to emergency service staff. This is the latest world news from the BBC. The Chinese authorities have admonished 2 Wuhan police officers who acted to silence the doctor who first sounded the alarm about the coronavirus. Li Wenliang was criticised for warning colleagues in December about the virus and ordered to promise not to break the law again. Just over a month later, the 34-year-old died of the virus himself, triggering an extraordinary outpouring of public anger and grief. Social media posts about the case continue to be censored in China. In other news, the British government has been accused of ignorance and thoughtlessness in a report into a scandal in which some people from the Caribbean were wrongly told that they were in the country illegally. The independent review looked into what's known as the Windrush scandal. Britain's Home Secretary, Priti Patel, said she was truly sorry for the insensitive treatment. Danny Shaw reports.
This damning review says the Windrush scandal was caused by profound institutional failure at the Home Office. The report says race clearly played a part in the way migrants from the Caribbean were treated. According to the report, the root cause of the scandal can be traced back to legislation in the 1960s, 70s and 80s, some of which had racial motivations. It also blames the government's hostile environment policy designed to deter illegal immigration.
Germany has banned and raided a group of far-right associations that reject the modern state. Some 400 police officers were involved in 10 German states. They targeted 20 leaders of groups that call themselves Reich or Empire Citizens Associations. The Interior Minister Horst Seehofer said the groups had spread racist and anti-Semitic literature which aimed to poison free society systematically. Counter-terrorism forces in Greece have detained more than 20 people after conducting raids on a suspected Kurdish militant group in Athens. Police said they found a tunnel and seized heavy weaponry, including anti-tank arms. BBC News.